let's go ahead and dive into the playoffs. We're here. We are here.
Finally.
Let's look at it. We've got 6 games this super wild card weekend. Starts on Saturday. We've got some very fun games. We actually kind of have to. I was going to say whoever won gets to pick first with a game picks all season long, but we tied. So I'm gonna flip a coin. Heads or tails?
Tails.
You got it. Your first pick.
I get to pick what?
So basically, how this is gonna work is we're basically drafting odds. So you get to basically select whatever game you want, whatever line you want, but that's yours, and I can't pick that line. Like you get to select a line. So let's say you just want Buffalo -4. That's your line. You got that game, Buffalo -4. I can't touch that game at all anymore.
Okay.
We can give our synopsis and what we think about the game and whatnot, but that is your line. And then, basically, after we draft all the games, what we're going to do is that'll be wins, losses, and whatnot. Wins will be accumulated over the next 3 weeks heading to the Super Bowl, and we will decide then whoever is the winner and the best prognosticator on the show here.
Okay, so I get to pick whichever odds I want.
And we got to use the FanDuel lines, though.
Okay.
So right now what we're looking at is Saturday, Vegas, Vegas at Cincinnati. We got Cincinnati, the favorite, -5.5 right now. And the other line would be, or the other spread would be just +5.5 for the other team.
I got that.
Yeah, so just making sure anybody on the show, listening to the show, understands.
Okay.
Next on Saturday, Buffalo is going to take on New England. Buffalo will be at home. They are -4.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay -8.5 versus Philadelphia. San Francisco is going to be in Dallas. Dallas is -3. Kansas City is going to take on Pittsburgh with a -12.5 point favorite. And Monday is going to be Arizona versus LA, and that is going to be a -4.
Okay. So how does this work now?
So you get to draft. You know the lines. You see them. These are the lines we're taking. So if they move, if they shift, doesn't matter. You're locking in. You're drafting this line today for these games for this weekend.
Right. I'm on first, and I'm going to lock in my home team.
Oh, I actually did not expect you to do this.
Yeah, you did. I'm taking Kansas City.
Taking Kansas City -12. All right. Well, then with me, I'm gonna take the risk. Because this game, I have no idea what's gonna happen. I'm taking Buffalo -4.
Let you have them.
And we'll talk regular game picks after our draft here. So we're not just going to leave these games high and dry, just picking. But
okay, now I'm up again.
mm-hmm.
Make it interesting. Give me the Los Angeles Rams line. -4.
What, the Rams -4? All right. And with that, I'm going to do... I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to take San Francisco +3.
Ah.
So we got Cincinnati -5.5 left and Tampa Bay -8.5 left.
I want to make it interesting. I am going to take Cincinnati.
Oh, yes. I'll take Tampa Bay -8.5 then.
That's fine. I've been trying to get you Tampa Bay though.
I know. I knew you when we kept beating around. I was like, that one's I feel like it's the obvious one.
I took the obvious one in Kansas City. Even though I understand
+12.5. That's a lot of points to give up. Without Tyreek Hill, maybe.
Doesn't matter.
All right. You're taking Cincinnati -5.5.
I'm gonna crash and burn with Kansas City either way. However
Yeah,
it goes.
that's fine. I think I would have ended up with it, but that was not going to be my first pick. But all right, let's talk the games. Let's start with Saturday. Vegas is going to be on the road taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, Cincinnati is the favorite, -5.5. Joe Burrow has got a week of rest for that knee. They're going to be at as much health as they can possibly be at, taking on a Vegas team that has just had an emotional roller coaster of a Week 18 game. This one's going to be fun to watch. I think this is going to be one of the most fun games of the weekend, and it's a great way to kick off Super Wildcard Weekend.
I agree.
I'm going to say it right now. I'm taking Cincinnati in this game straight up. Like money line wise, I would take Cincinnati. I just don't see how this offense is going to be stifled by the Raiders defense, and I don't see. I think Cincinnati has a more consistent defense than the Chargers do. So with that being said, I just think Cincinnati is a better team. I think they have more firepower, more big playability, and Cincinnati is going to run away with this game.
Find the game is going to be much closer. But what I'm struggling with, if there was an upset to be had, I think it would be in this one. I don't know if I can pull a trigger though. That's the thing, and now because as we were speaking earlier, I don't believe all the home teams are going to win, and I just trying to figure out which one is going to drop, and that's not clear. It's just I just know it's going to be one of them. I just don't know which.
I feel like there's two possibilities, and it comes in one in this game and a game later we'll talk about. But
it's a changing of the guards. Cincinnati is going through a new era, and the era is actually called winning for a change. And I think it continues in at least this first round. So they should have more than enough firepower to beat Vegas. So I would be taking Cincinnati in this
one. All right. Well, that is perfectly fine by me. We both, game pick wise, are definitely going to take the favorite in this game. This is one that I would not be shocked if Vegas won the game, but to me, Cincinnati's offense has just been way too good. Now, part 3, they bring it back. New England at Buffalo. This is going to be a fun one. Again, Buffalo is a -4-point favorite. This is going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be very cold. I think the actual real temperature that the forecast is stating is going to be 2 degrees. It's going to feel like -10. This is just going to be. There's not going to be nearly as much wind, so I think that opens up this game a little bit more here. But your thoughts on this game?
Well, as I kept throwing out there, home team has not won a game in this series. Does that factor and carry over into the playoffs? Good question. Won't know to the end of the game, but I don't know. I wasn't super impressed by Buffalo beating them in the second time.
Really?
I mean, they beat them.
They beat them handedly, though.
I don't know. It just seemed more impressive when New England beat them. Then they just can't. I don't know.
I feel like that was a game.
It's just kind of it was an eye test. It just didn't look. It didn't impact me. It didn't hit me or like, oh my God, they really bounced back and salvaged their season. They didn't have to salvage anything. Maybe it was just, Buffalo was just having that little 2 out of 3 week span where they were just playing, crappy, and one of the games just happened to be New England, but it just Buffalo looked bad when they lost. New England,
you got to go back to that game in Buffalo, the first Buffalo New England game, and remember the weather in that game was literally you cannot throw the ball. Like there was no possibility of throwing the ball. Whenever they threw the ball, that thing was moving so much in the air. There was just like Josh Allen has been nixed from this game. Mac Jones was nixed from this game. I think Mac Jones had 3 pass attempts in the game, whereas Josh Allen kept trying. Like they wanted to try to get the ball going, but that's also because they don't have a run game. And so I felt like this is going like with way less wind because like those were 30, 40 mile per hour winds that they were going up against. I think the highest that the wind speed's supposed to be is like 14 miles per hour, which is still that's windy, but it's nowhere near what it was. And so I think that they're going to have a whole nother facet of their game completely opened up for this game. And when we saw them when they were able to throw the ball when they played against New England in New England, New England had no answer for Josh Allen.
Right.
So I think Josh Allen being a factor in this game, he is going to be massive. I mean, Mac Jones is again one good game in the last month. I don't see I have all the faith in the world of Bill Belichick. I truly don't think Mac Jones is a guy who is going to athletically beat another team. He can beat him with his brain. He can beat him with the scheme and the game plan, but athletically, which I think this game is going to come down to, Mac Jones versus Josh Allen. Sorry, I'm taking Josh Allen.
Yeah. I did well going, but yeah, I threw that stat out there.
And I also don't like picking against Bill Belichick, by the way, but I'm taking Buffalo.
No, I don't have a problem with that, and specifically in this one, I think New England made this rivalry or this division rivalry a thing just by going out there stunning the world and stealing that first game, that first matchup against Buffalo. I think but they go back and drop one at home. I don't think that was so much of Buffalo stealing the game as opposed to Buffalo just being who they was supposed to be in the first place. They were going to win in New England no matter what. That's what it came down to. How did they lost at home to them? That's the thing that we need to ask ourselves. But with that being said, Buffalo has been the real deal from day one. New England just kind of came on mid-season and all of a sudden showed that they were a contender, got themselves back at the playoff contention. But come on, I'm not just because it's Belichick over there. Apart from Brady, I'm not going to be like, well, anybody any team that's led and coached by a Bill Belichick has just as much chance of going to the Super Bowl as I'm not even going to make these dumb ESPN declarations and stop. They're not that team. They are a playoff contender. They're not a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
And with that, Buffalo 100%. Not taking anything away from New England. New England is
great season for you guys.
Yeah, but they're not the superior team. And I don't see them going into Buffalo taking that game. They take it, great. You took it. We have something to talk about next week. But you're not going to convince me that that's what's going to happen. I'm not going to lose any sleep thinking, oh, my God, man, if Buffalo can't pull this off. I don't think they're going to have a problem with that. Even with
Buffalo
a 4-point line.
won the division for a reason. That's all I got to say. Now, moving on to Sunday, even the NFL thinks this is going to be the most boring game of the week. Philadelphia is going to be on the road against Tampa Bay.
That's why they put them on at 12.
It's not even fair. Like, again, Tampa Bay is a -8.5. I'm taking Tampa Bay. I don't see what Philadelphia. Hey, Philadelphia, this has been an insane season for you. Neither one of us had you in the playoffs. I had you last place in the division. You got all the way up to number 2. You have a guy that is very dynamic in Jalen Hurts, but outside of him and the hopeful rapport that they can create in Devontae Smith, that can be something there if you build around it correctly. Everything else can go, though. Sorry.
Yeah, not a lot to break down there in Philadelphia. Tampa, we know they lost some pieces, but they already had a 42-piece set in the first place. So who cares if you lost a fork and a soup spoon? I mean, you're not gonna miss it. With that, Tampa Bay should roll through here. I understand Philadelphia, and I shared that with you. They are a tough out, and definitely a tough playoff out. However, they probably got the worst matchup they possibly could have in the first round.
Anybody else in the NFC would have been a delight to watch Philadelphia play. Tampa Bay,
right? God. I would not be shocked if this game is close or kind of in a close realm, but then Tampa Bay just pulls it out. I don't want to be, and it'll be
you
like
taking the Philadelphia spread plus 8.5. Not the game
I
pick. Your
want
game
to,
pick is Tampa
I
Bay. I got
understand
you.
that. I want to say that, but then it could go. It's so 50-50. Like, man, that can go both ways. Because it's I understand that they sat a lot of people, but look, truth be told, y'all just gave up to 51 points. That's not. I'm sorry, I can't ignore that. Like that didn't happen. I don't give a damn. Y'all was on the team, so
Yeah.
y'all was supposed to be next man up, and y'all next
And
team
also,
up.
all
Y'all
those
next
guys need to
squad
be
up
playing, put
sucked.
something on film to get another contract.
Thank you. And none of that happened. And you gave a 51 piece special. Are you Yeah. I'm gonna take Tampa and just not overthink this one. So
Gotcha. All right. Well, midday game. This is one of the most interesting games of the week. San Francisco versus Dallas. I think this one. I think that, and not to disrespect Pittsburgh and what they've done to get to where they are, but I think this should be the Sunday Night Football game. I think this is one of the most interesting games that we have all week. I mean, Vegas thinks so because it's the smallest line that we have.
that is the 3:30 slot on. I was about to say on Fox. They say on CBS.
Oh wow,
That makes no sense. I was gonna say, well, hell, what is the 3:30 spot on Fox in the first place? It's the game of the week. I would have been like, that would have been perfect.
They're gonna put on Fox probably is going to be the noon game, Philadelphia Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And so they have to give CBS the next slot, and so it has to be.
And because they're giving NBC this Sunday night game, so as you were
That's
saying,
what I think it's smarter
it
to
should
put
have been
them.
swapped.
Yeah,
and that would have made a hell of a lot more sense.
it's a better game. I think that's a better game to put on like national TV. I mean, all these games are on national TV.
So good. It's like watching two teams.
What?
No matter who their opponent is.
Stop it! Jesus Christ!
We're only watching the Kansas City anyway. And if when Kansas City's offense
but exactly
go out,
why I don't think
watch
Pittsburgh deserves to be the prime time slot.
I understand what you're saying. But hell, they could have been that could have been the 12 o'clock CBS game technically. But neither here nor there.
There's a reason Philadelphia's in that spot, but regardless,
no.
Back to San
and
Francisco versus Dallas.
Put the Fox game at 3 in Tampa.
Yeah, true.
That's all I was saying. I would just be like,
I think more people are going to be intrigued in watching.
The fact that it's Kansas City, that's why they just put them at Sunday night anyway, and boom.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But all right, let's get to the game to talk about: San Francisco versus Dallas.
Yes, back to that.
This is the other game that I was saying I think is ripe for an upset. And this is why I took San Francisco.
Yeah, it's on my
3.
list, but I ain't going there because I'm sorry.
I'm not either. I'm taking Dallas to win on the money line. I think it's going to be a dogfight of a game, though.
Yeah.
It's Jimmy Garoppolo. This dude stays in games for no goddamn reason.
I already know.
And Elijah Mitchell has been fantastic. That is like, I think the steal in the draft is Elijah Mitchell. He to me is one of the best rookie running backs in the league right now.
I'm sorry. I ain't got a post for him. I understand what he's did. It's just, there's certain players like Justin Herbert last year did not move the needle for me. I'm like, didn't you see what he did? Absolutely. You ain't excited? No, I don't ask me. I just sorry. You just okay. I see what he did.
You have this thing with San Francisco where you're just waiting for them to get injured.
He's been injured twice this year. I ain't got to waiting for him.
He's missed 2 games. He came right back and still has been playing insane football both times. He is not Trey Sermon. He is not he is not Raheem Mostert.
I can't wait till next year. Game film is in. Everybody's ready. Let's go, Mr. Mitchell. Let's see what you got now, because you're gonna be on a long casualty list of these other guys.
But it's gonna be Trey Lance though. It's not gonna be Jimmy Garoppolo.
I'm not even gonna watch the team because.
Well, I don't know. It actually might be.
Jimmy G is what's been pulling me in, technically.
Yeah.
People with the Kittles and the Debo, that's all fine, but none of that matters without this guy. So it just kind of like that's been the draw, has been the quarterback.
I think it's going to be
next
interesting.
Year we'll see
with this game because we get to see Dallas's defense take on this team is not like, oh, we're gonna light you up, we're gonna put up 45 points week in, week out. This is just like, no, we're gonna methodically run the ball on you, and it doesn't matter who our running back is. Our run game scheme is so good that we can get positive plays with anybody in the backfield.
And I want to see if San Francisco can turn it on like they supposedly desperately turned it on last week to get into the playoffs. Now,
But
are they going to continue that type of desperation football and expired football when they go over here to Dallas?
I think the X factor is Nick Bosa. If he can
Okay.
create pressure and if he can make Dak uncomfortable, the San Francisco plays good run defense regardless. I don't think this is going to be the Zeke game. If it is, that'll be very disappointing to watch from what San Francisco has done all season long.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, I think Dallas is going to win the game. I think Dak is going to have that trick he pulls out at the end to win them the game. But I think it's going to be the Dallas fan base, their heart is going to be pumping out of their chest in the fourth quarter of this game because I think Nick Bosa is going to take over the first half of this game.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to make it so difficult for anything to get going for the Dallas offense, and we're going to be looking at something kind of inept, and it's going to take a halftime adjustment to really pop this thing open for Dallas. And if they can take over and figure it out in the second half,
mm-hmm.
they can win this game. But I would not be shocked if San Francisco went into Jerry World and stole this game. But I am going to take Dallas to win.
Yeah.
Money line wise, I'm
agree
taking
with
the
your
plus 3%.
sentiments, and I agree with your pick.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, I've picked 4 straight home teams.
Yeah.
And I've already went through the 2 that I was already on the fence about. So I'm just gonna let it ride 6-0, and yeah, I'm just already.
Well, I already know. I already got Kansas City penciled in for you against Pittsburgh.
You can put that in the pen.
Well, I can't because it's on the computer. But regardless, let's talk about the game.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City's at home, minus 12.5-point favorites. Pittsburgh, a team that got in on by the grace of Vegas kicking a field goal, and I think we're watching a blowout. I like the minus 12.5-point line. It should have been put at minus 22.5. I think we're about to watch Kansas City. They're going to make a fool out of Pittsburgh in this game.
It's time to really end a career here in era, and it should be done right. And I mean, and it should be done convincingly. It shouldn't be this let's get one for the Gipper type nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
and let's see if he got any last heroics in him, and let's see if he can make a game of this and push this possibly to an overtime. You know,
do we
man,
remember?
Miss me with all that.
Do we remember Pittsburgh's last playoff game?
Last playoff game. I probably don't, but go ahead. Okay, I don't keep stuff to memory.
They got absolutely ramrodded by Cleveland last year. But they did make it a game, and they almost came back in that game. That was against Cleveland. I'm sorry. This is Kansas City. This is the team that is a dynasty. This is the team that has won the AFC. They've won the AFC 2 out of the last 3 years, back-to-back the last 2 years. They've been to the Super Bowl, should have been 3 years in a row, if they don't have a pre-snap penalty in 2019. In Frank Clark being offsides, then they're in the Super Bowl. They would have beat Tom Brady that year, and they would be in the Super Bowl against that year was the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
So all that being said, Kansas City has had a whale of a time this year, and they have, outside of last week, the last half of the season, we've been looking at a team that is playing great offense and great defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think we expect that to continue, especially with the injuries that Pittsburgh has. If Najee Harris can't go, you might as well make it minus 32.5. But if Najee Harris is in, he's worth 10 points, minus 22.5.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's already a foregone conclusion that they're not going to have Deontay Johnson in this game with his rib injury. And Ben Roethlisberger couldn't throw the damn ball anyway this season. The reason why they're in the playoffs is because of Najee Harris, not because of Ben Roethlisberger. So He loses another weapon. Washington, like you said earlier, good talent, but you're not moving the needle. Chase Claypool, sorry, you're going to be seeing double teams all night long. And it's really going to did Pat Fryermuth, is he fully healthy? Is he back?
I am not sure. I didn't get a report on him.
I don't think it matters either way. I mean, I think you can single team him and be fine.
That's Big Ben's number 2 target.
It is. And that's sad. And I think this is going to be a sad ending to Ben Roethlisberger's career.
You know, it should be. And this would be the third. If I had to say there was going to be a possibility of a road team coming in there, it would be this one. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not even trying to hear that noise.
No.
You know, like that has been Kansas City's MO to some degree. But in a year like this, that would totally shock me. Like, how in the hell did you lose this one?
Yeah.
Because, Pittsburgh is not. Okay, I don't know how the hell they got 9 wins, but they found a way to get it. But that has to be the most overachieving 9-win team I've ever seen in the history of the NFL, because it did not look good at all from top to bottom. It was a very ugly 9-7-1. See, I mean, 8-8 teams don't look that horrific. That's I'm talking about a true 500 team.
Mm-hmm.
It's truly just 500. They're 9-7-1. They don't give the resemblance of a 500 team. It is a struggling 4-13, 3-15 type. You get that kind of vibe. Like, how many wins did they get? You know, when you hear their record, like, okay, I need to go back and look. It just has not looked good. And I'm not even going to even add the caveat of what happened in Chicago as to one of those wins and what it took for them to win that. You know what I'm saying? But hear me out. They're in the playoffs now with a tie with Detroit, and then followed up with a Chicago fiasco, right, in back-to-back weeks.
That still makes me
And
irate.
then you push on for the rest of the year, and they just backdoor their way into the playoffs because of a blunder in Sunday Night Football between two teams who technically were both in the playoffs. If they just looked at each other and say, "Look, just don't beat me."
I felt like Brandon Staley in Rich Bisaccia could have on like as the game is going on could have just made eye contact and just from across the field and just been like, "Yeah,
we're gonna kick this field goal and tie it.
Just chill out. We're
just gonna be cool. We're cool. We're in. We don't even have to." I never seen nothing. I never even heard of such a scenario until you shared it. And you're like, "Oh no, they had to get." I'm like, "Oh, the tie." And I'm so caught up in Pittsburgh's tie from Detroit with not even understanding that
Pittsburgh almost screwed up the whole thing in the noon window because they almost tied with Baltimore.
Wow.
That's
it's unreal. I mean, the NFL. If you ever thought that the last week of the season can't be exciting for the most craziest, wonkiest, or conventional reasons, Week 18, the brand new Week 18, oh man, came out.
Hey,
they pulled out all the stops
for the first Week 18.
Thank you. Red carpet treatment the whole way, all the way down to the Sunday night game finale. That was the finale of finales for the season.
It was insane.
And you would think it was just Vegas and Chargers. Out of all teams, it wasn't Kansas City and Baltimore. It wasn't Buffalo and Tampa Bay. It wasn't none of that crazy powerhouse conglomerates moving on. No. Yeah. So anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
No, it's just this game.
We still have a Monday night game to talk about.
I know. Kansas City is. I think they are on a tour of revenge at this point. They had a terrible start of the season, and they already were coming into the season pissed off about last year's Super Bowl.
The only thing I'm really tired that I'm over the murderous row. We so far away. The first 8 weeks were just brutal. Now these last 9, only thing I'm really hung up on. Personally, I haven't even shared this with you. has been that damn Cincinnati game. That has been eating at me for 2 weeks now.
You haven't mentioned it, like you didn't tell me, but I knew that game ate at you because of when it happened and we talked about it on the
I ain't
show.
have much to say.
You just like moved past it.
I was done.
And I was I know he's sitting here. See, like I wanted to draw it out of you, but I was like, you know what?
I didn't have the words.
What it felt like to me was like the way that you felt about that game was the way that I felt about the Pittsburgh-Chicago game.
Yeah, but not with that kind of venom. It was different.
Okay.
Because they got robbed. And
yeah.
This wasn't a robbing. It was just like, what the... what was that? You know, it was like a WFT type of thing. Slightly different, but I understand. Yeah.
I didn't emotionally I was just like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna let him be.
It rubbed me very wrong because I was just like, what the... It was really one of them type of
you know what about that game, why I also didn't like stay on it is because I had said it that week where I was just like, I would not be shocked if Cincinnati was going to win this game. And I said I wanted to take them. I wanted to so bad to take them, but I just could not.
You would have won.
I know. I would have won.
You know, apart from the Green Bay.
And everything that I said came true. I was like, it's Joe Burrow, it's Jamar Chase, it's Joe Mixon. Like, those guys are that dynamic, and it's Kansas City's defense has been better, but it's still Kansas City's defense, which is what they're the very thing that they're not known for.
I got you.
And it's just like, yeah, but as you were saying about the game.
No, I mean, with all that, I was just saying that was my third possible, like, okay, one of these home teams is not going to win. But I'm like, look, that would be the last team I'm going to sit there and put my money against. Regardless, they have broken the curse of being able to win the home game when it was really all set up for them to have another debacle like they have done so many times in the past, and I've watched every last one of them. And so once I got past that anxiety, I'm like, okay, let me just go back to who's the best damn team when these match up, and let's be real. Pittsburgh has backdoored their way into the damn playoffs. They don't belong here beyond this week. And I think it's fitting that Kansas City gets to do the send-off. And I'm going to leave it at that.
All right. So, well, let's talk Monday Night Football, which I don't think either one of us like this for football itself, but I will like it as a fan because we get more football over more days. And
you know what I'm saying? We don't have to cram in 3 particular games, and if one of the games didn't go right, and you got to sit there and shake it off and
get to the next.
And there's 2 more games. They go, I don't want to watch 2 more games. Maybe we'll
you know what is actually, it's a good thing. Kansas City is at the very last game for you. If it was with any other team, like if it was actually going to be a game that was like, oh god, this actually could go a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like having it at the end of the day, where you already don't care about the other 2 games. You watch them to have fun. And if anything went wrong in that game, you could sleep it off before the next day.
And get a consolation Monday night game to possibly
make up for it. Yeah. So, but that's not going to happen with this game. But I'm just saying, like,
with this format, I want to throw out something real crazy since they want to get really, they want to go all the way out with this Monday night game.
Okay.
So taking the same lineup, if they say this has happened, just say this was next year. I'm just using the same teams and the same format, same matchups, and all this and that. So, what if we had a first time ever Thursday night?
No.
No, hear me out. Started with Vegas and Cincinnati.
You can't put a playoff game on a short
2 Saturday
week.
Games.
1 Sunday game? Or 2 Sunday
games.
And a Monday night game?
Monday night game.
Absolutely.
No, sorry. 1 Thursday, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. Yeah. Instead of having 3 on Sunday.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
That way you have 1 on Thursday, 1 on Monday. And hey, in the event of COVID, we have a Tuesday and a Wednesday just sitting wide open. Let me stop. I'm done.
Arizona is going.
My point of that is the fact that's what this Monday sounds like to me. Like they're not far off. Don't throw it out. The fact that this has never happened in the history of my life or anybody's life that's on this podcast right now. I've never heard of a Monday night game in a wild card round. That's
in the playoffs in
general. What are you talking about? It's just look. We already understood what Saturday football meant in the NFL. That's playoff time, and or week 17 technically going up before this year.
I think we had like a week 15 Saturday game or something like that.
Maybe
Yeah, because
16.
we
It was
also had a
something
game
like
on
a
Christmas.
prematurely type thing. I'm just making a point,
Yeah.
but yeah, you get these weird at the very end of the year. You get this one weird Saturday game, and then of course the first week of the playoffs and the wild card round was
And the
Saturday.
divisional round has Saturday games.
Did he still have in the division? Okay,
Mhm.
but we knew that was playoff football,
Yeah.
and that's when we knew Saturdays was no legit at that point. Now all of a sudden they just threw this Monday night thing in. I'm like, okay, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. All I'm
doesn't.
saying is is Thursday really a stretch? That's all I'm throwing out there.
It just the reason. Well, yes, Thursday is a major stretch.
Oh, that'd be even on a short week. That'd be like a 2-7 matchup.
No,
Because the setting
stop
has
it.
7 play.
The Rams though are going to
Remember
be
this
taking on the
conversation.
Arizona Cardinals on Monday
even
Night
wanna hear it.
Football.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
Rams are -4. This is you say that your number 3 for an upset would be Kansas City Pittsburgh, and I understand why you say that, but to me the number 3 is Arizona versus LA because neither one of these teams have looked good over the last month.
Yeah,
And it's been
but
so
one
frustrating for
team
these
has
two.
looked more particularly bad than the other one.
That is true.
Various and different reasons, and the records don't speak to that because Arizona is a superior road team and a very subpar home team, and the Rams look like they are a superior home team but a subpar road team. And guess what? Rams are at home. Arizona's on the road. However, neither team has played well no matter where they were at in the last month anyway. And some kind of way, the playoff gods smile and laugh and poo-poo on us yet again and found a way to get these two teams to meet in the first round. You got to be effing kidding me. Like what I was telling you, when I finally got to see what the matchups were, because I told you I really wasn't watching the games. I was like, how the hell that happened? And I'm
They
like,
both lost. That's what happened.
This would have. I didn't think a loss in both consecutive aspects would have put them in a scenario.
Well, San Francisco, Arizona was locked into the lowest that they could be was 5.
First of all, I thought New Orleans was going to get in. I just thought they were.
Really? I think we
kind of controlled
their
own destiny, and then they couldn't seal the deal. They did what they did.
They did everything that they could.
They did Indianapolis. They just
no. Okay. Indianapolis had it in their hands. You win and you're in. New Orleans had it where, hey, we got to do our part and then we need some help. And New Orleans went out there and they beat that team. They beat Atlanta. And in Indianapolis, all you had to do was beat the worst team in football. All you had to do was beat the team that held on to hired Urban Meyer in the first place. All you had to do was beat the team that hasn't been able to score more than 20 points in over half their games. With you having one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL to hold them under that, and plus to have one of the most conservative offenses that does not turn the ball over. Also with an MVP candidate at running back.
Right.
Also with a dynamic wideout in Michael Pittman. Also with a veteran wide receiver in T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah,
you had all of that.
Played 4 games, but go ahead.
You still had him. You still effed it up.
All right, let's move on. Point, mate. Just saying. I can't take nothing away from this matchup. The fact is, I don't like the fact that the two of them had to meet each other in the first round because they're both struggling,
and that's what I think is going.
Neither one of them has much of a advantage over the other.
Nope.
And whether you and I'm even factoring home field is really not even a home field right now. This just, I'm not saying it's a neutral site. All I'm saying is I don't think it factors in like a normal game. You can factor it, sure. I guess I would rather want to be home, but at the end of the day, but in Arizona's case, they have played 10 times, 1,000 times better on the road than they have at home for whatever reason, and that makes no damn sense to me whatsoever. But that's just how it's been, and maybe that's why they're down there at 11-6 now because they can't get it together at home. But they're not at home.
So who are you taking?
Yeah, so I told you 6 for 6, so I'm just gonna take the Rams.
Okay.
and I'm just gonna see which one I'm wrong about. So, because I can't. It's hard to, man. This is not easy. I can't. There's potential. Look, and I'm saying it like you were saying, like outside of really Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, outside of the state of Pennsylvania,
Pennsylvania
everybody
is
else
gonna be a
has
hard week for you.
everybody else really has a legitimate shot.
Yeah.
Even Vegas. I mean,
Yes.
that's not even taking nothing away from Cincinnati. Vegas just, if they're on, oh my god.
And the reason why
they
I'm
are such a
taking
Jekyll and Hyde
Cincinnati
team.
is because these are two Cinderella teams. I got to take the one that's at home. I'm sorry. One of these Cinderella stories is going to end this week. Cincinnati's at home. It's just more of a storybook ending for them to continue to win games. Whereas Vegas, all right. I'm taking the Rams as well for this Monday Night Football game. And the reason why, you got Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is the Triple Crown winner. He's the best wide receiver in the NFL in 2021-2022. You've got Sony Michel, who over the last month has been one of the best running backs in all of the NFC. You've got one of the best offensive lines in football. You've got one of the strongest front sevens. You have a game wrecker in Aaron Donald up front. Von Miller's been coming along very, very nicely in this league. And you got Jalen Ramsey, who's one of the best corners in the game. So defensively, across the board, you look great.
Right.
On top of the fact that you have a guy that Matthew Stafford is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in all of the NFL for his entire career. I know he does not have a playoff win because he's been with Detroit, and a part of that falls on his shoulders, but a lot of that falls on Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you got guys like Van Jefferson, who's come along over the last month very, very nicely for LA. I think he's been slowly coming along, kind of like how McCole Hardman's been coming along for Kansas City. So it's taken a while, but he's there. He's arrived, I feel.
Legitimate number 3 now.
Well,
he was when Woods was there, non-existent.
Yeah.
He goes out. You bring over in Odell Beckham, who we didn't know what number he was. Yeah. But go ahead. I didn't want to steal you.
Well, yeah, no, it's just
I'll segue you into that. Go ahead.
OBJ also has come along very nicely, and I know his numbers kind of have mimicked him in Cleveland to a degree, but it's just been more effective in the Rams offense than it did in Cleveland.
And he's in a new place. He was in Cleveland for a while. So.
Yeah. So I think to me, they have all of the makings of just a formidable team that should be almost impossible to stop. At this point, though, it's still a divisional game, so it's still going to be tough regardless. But the Arizona defense has kind of regressed back to the mean.
Mm-hmm.
You've got an offense that is missing a major the piece that kind of is the heartbeat of this team in DeAndre Hopkins. And Christian Kirk has not really figured it out. AJ Green has been like this check down Charlie type guy. James Conner last 3 games has not been figured out, but it's harder and harder for him to get going because you're not going elsewhere. Chase Edmonds has come back and he's finally healthy and he's eating away from James Conner touches. So it's like, okay, which one is going to get going? Can either one of them really get going based off of they're not getting the amount of touches that they would like? So there's just a lot. It's not dysfunction. It's just there's so much for Arizona to figure out. Whereas to me, all the Rams have to do is play sound defensive football. You don't even have to hold them under a certain amount of points. You just have to play sound defensive football, get a stop or two, and get good field position for your offense. And all the offense has to do is protect the football. You protect the football, the points will come. That's all that I see from the Rams. And also, they just got Cam Akers back. So that's even another threat for their offense. So it's just like, again, Matthew Stafford, I don't want to see a damn interception out of you in the playoffs. Like this, at this point, you've hit your interception quota.
I'm gonna do you one better. I don't want to see a damn interception before you throw a damn touchdown pass because I'm tired of watching him play from a deficit.
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't do that last week. I didn't watch the game either. But for the four before that, that's all he did. He just kept finding himself fighting from a deficit. Now, I did watch the first half of that game because I was talking to you about it. And then, of course, I already told you this is over. So, and as soon as I said it, something told me, why did I say that out loud? Because, there's still another half of football. However, they was beating them that convincingly going into the half.
Yeah.
Didn't watch the second half, so I don't even know what the hell happened. Obviously, nothing, because they did nothing. So, I just don't understand what happened. But that's neither here nor there. I just didn't like the fact. I don't like overall as a fan that this was the slate for these two teams. I'm like, damn, y'all just gonna.
It's the one where I was like, I'm actually disappointed to see this match.
Second round, I would have been excited, but first, I'm just like, oh, you got to be out the gate.
We're gonna knock one of these two teams out of the gate.
So yeah, a little bit of a bummer, but with that being said, I'm like, well, it is what it is, and like you said, hey, y'all both had no business damn losing in the last week, no way. So, it is what it is. But I got the Rams, so I took all six home teams.
Same.
We're wrong about something. I don't know which one, and when I see it, I'm like, yep, I kind of.
I'm gonna be pissed.
That one. I knew it was that one. No matter what, I knew it was gonna be that one. But whatever. So, so we chalked all the way, huh? So neither one of us budged off the whole team.
No, we didn't. But we do still have our draft to fall back on.
Yes.
So we'll see how these games play out. Again, one of us is wrong about something, so we'll see.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap things up. We want to thank you guys again for listening. This has been a fun season so far. We've wrapped up the regular season. We are into playoff football. I'm excited. I think this is the time of the year that I think we all live for.
Yes.
Cold weather and just good football.
Yes. And is the Super Bowl truly going through Tennessee and Green Bay?
No.
What is this world coming to?
So,
as you say quickly.
No. I want to thank you guys for listening again, and simply we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Have a good night.